Oral questions by members.
Member for Skeena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Tuesday, the housing minister called Vancouver's downtown east side, quote, a vibrant community. I was there last Friday, and what the minister calls vibrant, I call human suffering. While she was a Vancouver City Councillor, she said, quote, the province should fund upstream solutions rather than forcing local governments to pay for unlimited policing to attempt to plug holes. Now that she's in government, though, City Council there is being forced to cover even more provincial responsibilities. $8 million a year to strengthen their crisis response services in that vibrant community, despite it being provincial responsibility. So my question to the minister is she okay with the City of Vancouver being forced to pick up her government's tab?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the question. As noted, I am happy to speak about the Downtown East Side as a community that has faced many complex challenges and also that is full of resilient individuals working together to create a better life. I know this because I worked frontline as an outreach worker at First United Church, as a low barrier shelter in the Downtown East Side. I continued to work alongside community members when I was in local government on Vancouver City Council, and continues to be a priority for this government. And we're taking action in partnership with the local council in a number of ways, building new housing and strengthening access to treatment services, working to better support people to access job training and more. Since 2023, Mr. Speaker, we've opened 800 new and renovated spaces for Downtown East Side residents, with more than 900 more on the way. We've partnered with the City of Vancouver to address encampments along East Hastings and in Crab Park to provide supports and shelter and housing. We've opened the new Road to Recovery treatment service and expanded Hope to Health to help 50% more people with complex health, mental health, and addiction challenges, as well as supporting Lookout's ethical employment program and so much more. We know these systemic challenges remain, and that's why we are working so hard in partnership with the City Council, in partnership with community organizations, in partnership with residents to see results. We'll continue that work. If the opposition wants to get involved, great. If they want to continue to resist and oppose, we will continue to do that work anyway, because we know that it matters.
Thank you. Member for Skeena supplemental.
Thank you, Speaker. I wasn't asking for the minister's resume, though. That's not what I asked for. I was asking whether or not this minister is okay now, has her mind changed about whether or not these provincial responsibilities should be downloaded onto the municipalities. They are funding the work that your government is supposed to do. So the city's investment has led to a 38% decrease in emergency room visits and 46% fewer police interactions just 1 month after intervention. Clearly, the municipality has found solutions that actually work. To the minister, very simple. Why does this government prioritize paying for consultants instead of funding real solutions?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The province has contributed a significant amount to the very solutions that the member opposite speaks to.
Member for Fraser-Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This government loves downloading its responsibilities onto local governments, and now they're trying to download Highway Patrol. They're quietly moving to offload Highway 1 patrol duties onto already overstretched police detachments in Abbotsford, Chilliwack, and Hope. To the Minister of Municipal Affairs, will she guarantee that Highway Patrol will remain under provincial jurisdiction? Yes or no?
Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and my thanks to the member for the question. Highway Patrol is a key area of law enforcement for the province, and I heard in my meetings with municipal leaders at UBCM some concerns around Highway Patrol. We are currently conducting a review of that program and ensuring that it is in line with the needs of communities today. And we will continue to do everything we can, working with municipalities to ensure that that highways are safe and that we all have the communities that we need, safe and robust, and working together to do this work.
Member supplemental?
Local mayors are concerned about this issue and have written to this government and are still waiting for solutions to the problem because they're concerned about the downloading. It's no wonder municipalities have lost trust in this government. Will the minister stop hiding behind process and finally confirm if Highway Patrol is staying under provincial jurisdiction? Yes or no?
Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you very much for the follow-up question. And Highway Patrol, as I've noted, is a key priority for the province. It was part of the historic investment that the province has made of over $230 million to provide more officers to meet the needs of communities. This government will continue to invest in law enforcement, including Highway Patrol, ensuring that communities have what they need to be safe and to keep their drivers safe. Thank you.
Leader of the third party.
Honourable Speaker, this government rewrote its spring legislative agenda when President Trump took office. They said we needed to consolidate power in the Cabinet and Premier's office, short-circuit environmental assessments, and fast-track mining and energy projects, all to respond to threats from south of the border. Trump's still in office, but 6 weeks into the BC-GEU strike, fast-tracked projects have hit the slow lane. From the smallest gravel pit to the Red Chris and Mount Polley mine expansions, the workers who issue permits, enforce compliance, and oversee health and safety are on strike. The threats to our environment and public health and safety are real. So my question to the Minister of Finance, if these minerals are as critical to our economy as this government claims, shouldn't they quit stalling, get back to the negotiating table, and end this strike?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question. Our government is very keen to get back to the table, and we have an offer on the table that keeps these workers up to date with inflation, that helps address funding for the lowest paid workers and protects their benefits. This is a valuable offer that we have on the table, and we'd like to get back to negotiating.
Member supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe the consistent message for the offer on the table is that this government is strapped for cash. Why then are we letting liquor sales dry up while the strike drags on? The government earns more in revenue from lotteries and liquor sales than it earns in royalties from gas and forestry. Those are funds that could be spent paying the workers who provide services to British Columbians. After all, despite all the pomp and circumstance, it is our government's core purpose. My constituents are hitting roadblocks as they try to access basic government services, student loans, supports for children with neurodiversity, timely court hearings, safe pedestrian crossings, and other frontline services. Who's next, Mr. Speaker? Teachers, nurses, paramedics? Because we know there is one advantage to public sector strikes. My question to the Minister of Finance, the advantage being to the government's bottom line, is this government counting on payroll savings from striking workers to bring down their record deficit, Mr. Speaker?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Absolutely not. What this government wants is to do two things: to make sure that we're respecting and properly paying our workers, and to make sure that we're protecting the bottom line. We believe we can do both of those things, and we're looking forward to getting back to the table.
Fourth party, House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last night, the United States announced it would classify Antifa as a foreign terrorist organization. Antifa members are inciting and perpetrating violence in the United States, Canada, and around the world. Charlie Kirk's assassin was Antifa, and Antifa members celebrated his murder. Popular Antifa mouthpieces like Hassan Piker are openly calling for conservatives to be murdered, including a sitting U.S. senator. In Montreal, Antifa members brutally assaulted and broke the arm of Billboard Chris, who was 1BC's esteemed guest here yesterday in the legislature. In Vancouver last Saturday, Antifa members marched in a demonstration with Samidoun, a listed terrorist organization. They wore masks, dressed in black, and flew the Antifa flag to intimidate the public. So my question to the Attorney General is simple. Will she, right now, right here in this House, condemn Antifa?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll just start by saying that we're a government that's focused on bringing people together and not dividing them, and is focused on addressing the real issues that British Columbians are facing today. I want to talk about our steps that we've taken on terrorist organizations because of the Premier's leadership, that the Bishnoi Gang was classified as a terrorist organization. An example of a real issue that we're addressing that British Columbians are experiencing right now, and we'll keep doing that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member supplemental.
Well, with all due respect, Mr. Speaker, my question was not about that. My question was about Antifa, a decentralized leftist organization like neo-Nazis on the right, which should be very easy to condemn. I personally condemn both Antifa and neo-Nazis. Mr. Speaker, why won't the Attorney General say the words? It's easy. I condemn Antifa.
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We condemn all forms of political violence. In fact, there were recent incidents of members of this House where they've experienced what we think is really unnecessary and unfortunate incidents of violence against their offices and threatening their people. These are the real issues that we're focusing on, that British Columbians are facing right now. And as I mentioned, the Bishnoi Gang, another real issue that we're focused on today. This type of Trump-style politics that's coming to this House that isn't addressing the real issues that British Columbians are facing is really unnecessary and unwelcome.
Member for Peace River North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have seen a health care and drug crisis sweep across this province, but it has hit rural communities the hardest, especially in Peace River North. I need to raise a critical concern about the Saplings program, which has been operated in partnership with Northern Health since 2021. It provides both inpatient and outpatient care for children and youth who present at the ER in mental health crisis. Over the past 4 years, 2 inpatient clinicians have served over 100 youth annually. Saplings has provided timely psychiatric care, individual counseling, group programs, parent support, filling a vital gap that otherwise left young people with nowhere to turn. Yet we have recently learned, effective March 31st, 2026, the contract for Saplings inpatient and outpatient care will be terminated. Northern Health plans to replace it with a single mental health nurse in the ER. This leaves children and youth who need ongoing mental health support with no services, essentially returning to the very crisis that led to Saplings' creation in the first place. Mr. Speaker, the people of my region do not want a nurse to be taken from the already short-staffed, desperately needed position. They want the contract for Saplings to be renewed because it works for our community. My question for the minister is, will she renew this contract of this proven effective program and help ensure the vulnerable and high-risk youth do not get left behind?
Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you so much to the member for the question. And I appreciated being able to visit him in his riding this summer and be able to talk about some of the pressing healthcare issues in his region. And he brings up a really important subject, which is the supports for children and youth and the mental health crises that people are experiencing and what we can do to continue to address them, to continue to support these youth and their families and build out a system of care that enables early intervention and prevention of issues before they become more serious, as well as being able to address those issues such as when families present at emergency rooms. Mr. Speaker, I know that Northern Health takes this issue very seriously, as do I, and is always looking for the best way to serve these families using the resources and the people, the good people that they have who are working hard on this. Committed to work with the member, learn more about the particular situation that he raises, but again assert how our community is so focused on bringing these resources out to children, youth, and their families through the establishment of Foundry Centres, integrated child and youth teams throughout this province, ensuring that kids and their families have access to the resources they need. Thank you.
Member supplemental.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I look forward to being able to work with you to make sure that this contract goes forward. But it's part of a bigger program, and I think that last week the Premier admitted that he was wrong allowing illicit drugs into our province. This has created unsafe and dangerous working environments for our frontline healthcare workers. We have heard repeatedly in this House about these unsafe conditions, and yet nothing has been done. We need these illicit drugs banned from our hospital grounds and everywhere else. My question for the Premier, who isn't here right now.
Member, don't identify member who's here or not. Just ask your
My
question.
apologies. My question is, are you going to right the wrongs and ask for the removal of the failed federal controlled substance use exemption that has wreaked havoc across our province and finally start fixing the major issues?
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you again to the member for the question and for his deep concern about people who are experiencing substance use issues, a concern that we all share, and we see that the toxic drug crisis continues to have a devastating impact on people and on their families. And we remember that each and every person who suffers as a result of this crisis is somebody's loved family member. And that's why it is imperative that we act with urgency on this and that we use different approaches and different tools that we have at our hand. Mr. Speaker, we saw during the pandemic just how terrible things got, and we took action as a government in pursuing decriminalization, in pursuing opportunities around prescribed alternatives, providing life-saving measures for people while we continue to connect them to care. That is what we need to continue to see. Connecting people to the supports and the care that they need, the treatment and the recovery services that are absolutely essential in helping people along their journey. And that's why we remain focused on building out the Road to Recovery system that has been established in Vancouver, bringing it out to every single health authority, and keeping in mind that those people who live in the most distant, remote parts of our province, like the communities that this member represents, need to have access to those services too. So I can assure the member and this entire House that we remain committed to this work. We're going to continue to build out this system of care, and we are going to continue to use every tool that we have to tackle this urgent crisis. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Prince George Mackenzie.
Mr. Speaker, opposition MLAs hosted a business and retail crime forum in Prince George, and the stories we heard were harrowing. That exact same night, Crossroads Brewing went up in flames. 50 people were out of work. The individual arrested by the RCMP for alleged arson has a rap sheet a mile long, and Daryl Lesky, owner of Crossroads, said, quote, "I will not rebuild in this climate at all. I cannot put my people at risk, my money at risk," end quote. The entire community is at a breaking point. And a week from now, on October 16th, there's a Safer Streets rally planned at the CN Centre Arena with hundreds, if not thousands, who will be in attendance. Will the Premier commit to showing up to that rally to answer for his government's crime-enabling policies, yes or no?
Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my thank you to the member opposite for the question and advocacy for the community. The Crossroads Brewing Company, I know, is a landmark of Prince George, and it's a devastating event for the owner, for the workers, and for the entire community. And we share those concerns, and no business should ever question whether it's safe to rebuild in their communities. That is why our government is making investments, enhanced supports for police so that they can respond to both repeat violent offenders and property crime in their communities. We will continue to make those investments, continue to support police in ensuring they have the tools that they need to keep their communities safe. We'll continue to stand with the residents of Prince George and work together so that businesses and communities are safe. Thank you.
Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Mr. Speaker, the town of Smithers is spending over $230,000 a year on private security just to keep their downtown safe. Local business owner Caroline Marco said, quote, "We've been robbed at Surridge Point. We've had break-ins, theft, vandalism. We've seen cars set on fire. I've lived all over the world and I have never seen any of these things." Will this minister explain why small towns like Smithers are paying out of pocket because this government can't do its job?
Hear, hear. Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, we take making our communities safer very seriously. I've put on the record to Minister Fraser the very specific changes that we need to make to the criminal code to make sure that these repeat offenders are kept off the street. And that includes better respect for the law. So we know that when our police officer out there trying to catch these people, that the system is there to respond, to keep businesses, to keep people safe. Mr. Speaker, next week I'm headed along with the Solicitor General to have a meeting with Minister Fraser. They've committed to making the changes in the criminal code and we'll be holding them to that. And hopefully it'll be soon. Thank you.
Member for Kelowna Mission.
Mr. Speaker, Urban's Industrial Safety employed 700 people last year, but BC's red tape, payroll taxes, and WorkSafe costs are driving them to hire and fly in Alberta-based staff who spend their wages and pay their taxes in Alberta. The government's own Small Business Roundtable has flagged these issues for years, including in a major 2018 report, but this government shut them down after an abrupt meeting in February 2024. With business confidence at an all-time low, will the Premier commit today to reactivating the Small Business Roundtable? Yes or no?
Minister of Jobs and Economic Growth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the member for the question. And ensuring that our small businesses are successful here in British Columbia is critical to the work not only that I do, but all my colleagues do. You've heard today the many measures that we're bringing forward to support small businesses during some challenging times. I can commit to the member that I have been meeting with chambers from across the province. I've been meeting with small businesses across the province. I've been meeting with larger businesses across the province. And what we want to make sure that we do as we go forward is to ensure all of their voices are represented, not just 4 or 5 people at a table, but making sure that every community has their small businesses' voices raised so their issues can be addressed. We are going to be scheduling regular roundtables with the chambers across the province, scheduled regular meetings, same with the Business Council, same with Board of Trade, Honourable Speaker, so that we can have more voices represented in the changes that we want to see within government. The member also mentioned red tape. We have right now a process going forward on ease of doing business. I urge all members in this House, if you have small businesses in your community that are finding challenges, bring those ideas forward. And my goal with my colleagues will be to ensure that we can address as many of those barriers that are nuisances to small businesses as we can.
Member for Surrey Serpentine River.
Homelessness is up in 60% of BC communities, with a record spike in both Cranbrook and Fort St. John. The government slogan is, quote, belonging in BC, but for too many people, it feels more like belonging in a tent. Can the minister explain if belonging in BC means belonging on the streets? Does she think they're vibrant communities too?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for the question. Homelessness is a significant issue, not just across BC, but across Canada and beyond, and it's one that we continue to take seriously. Our government's plan to address homelessness adds 3,900 new supportive housing units and 240 complex care spaces province-wide. That builds on the more than 9,600 supportive homes open or underway since 2017. Our government has worked closely with local governments to close encampments in communities across BC by opening up housing for people in places like Abbotsford, Vancouver, Maple Ridge, on the Wally Strip. The opposition has been clear that they want to cancel our housing actions, that they're opposed to supportive housing projects across the province. When they were in government, Mr. Speaker, they cut affordable housing investments by a staggering 75% in a single year. This government is taking the issue seriously, and we will continue to.
Member for Prince George Valemount.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In April 2024, a transport truck overturned near McBride, blocking the Goat River. Local company Rich Boys Mechanical and Towing dispatched by the RCMP to clear that wreck. 18 months later, they still haven't been paid. Will the minister ensure this small business receives a remuneration check prior to the end of our break? Yes or no?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I appreciate the question from the member. The member has brought the issue to my office. The member has also had the issue examined by the policies and procedures within the Ministry of Transportation. I can also tell you that the government does pay legitimate concerns. What we have asked for is the actual receipts in place. We do not pay when we receive a bill that says, oh, there's $300,000 in terms of storage costs and no accountability to it and no documentation. I have made it clear that we will look at that particular issue. I have met with the member a number of times on this, but when the government pays a bill, one, it has to be something that it is actually responsible for. Two, it must be accompanied by proper receipts, and I would expect the opposition would expect that to take place. As I've said to the member, I'm more than happy to look at it, to see what we can do, but we will only do what we are required to, what is actual, what is documented, and what is accompanied by receipts, not just a piece of a thing saying, here's all these things that we think we should be paid for.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's clear why the construction industry is worried about the government exempting themselves from prompt payment, I guess. Mr. Speaker, the pattern today has been very clear, and here's the interesting thing. All the examples that we've been bringing forward are under this government's watch, and in fact, municipalities and small businesses have been pleading for help from this government for years about the cost of downloading and the extra costs being put on them as small businesses. In fact, in 2024, Kamloops actually commissioned a report to demonstrate the previous 5 years' costs of downloading from government. It showed just Kamloops alone in that 5-year period was $13 million. Vancouver, we heard today, is $8 million just for the downtown east side of downloading. In fact, they're trying to find $100 million in savings in their budget because municipalities aren't allowed to just have a blank check and run a deficit, let alone a record deficit, like this government tries to do repeatedly. Councils across this province, small businesses across this province are trying to draft budgets for the future year right now. They need to know the state of play. They need to know if this government intends to keep downloading more and more costs on them to try to save their own budgetary measures or not. Everybody knows that this provincial government is broke under this Premier's watch. Municipalities know it, small businesses know it, the BCG members out on the picket lines are finding that out as we speak. So again, When will this government make it very clear to municipalities in this budget cycle whether they can expect more downloading costs, or if this government is actually going to finally, once and for all, take their concerns seriously and not deflect the things that may or may not have happened in 2001?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The member opposite points to our deficit, and I want to remind the member of the important work that we're doing every day to bring down costs in this government. We made a commitment that we would find $1.5 billion in savings in our first round, and we have, Honourable Speaker. We have to continue to do this work, and we are doing this work very diligently. We've put a freeze in place in hiring the public service. Through attrition, we already know 850 jobs. Mr. Speaker, we're continuing to do this work. All of our ministries are looking under every rock to make sure that everything that we're spending money on is getting results, Honourable Speaker. This is deep and important work, and we would expect the other side to support us.
The bell ends the question period.